you'll be aware that the regional tuna fisheries story is perhaps one of the best examples of regional cooperation amongst forum member countries, and there's an annual ministerial meeting of forum fisheries ministers of the Forum Fisheries Committee that met this year in Rarotonga in July. And the outcomes of that meeting are reported by the chair of the Forum Fisheries Committee, the Right Honourable Henry Puna, Ministry of Fisheries and also Prime Minister for the Cook Islands, in a letter that has gone to leaders. And I just note that the theme of this year's Forum Fisheries Committee meeting was Our Moana, Our Fish, Our Future. And that really sums up the critical importance of the region's tuna fisheries for the future of all Pacific Island countries. That update letter to the leaders, which is being tabled at this meeting, includes an update on the new aerial surveillance program that Tavita will talk to you about shortly. Also the issue of broader maritime domain awareness and the role that fisheries plays in that move to increase our overall understanding of activity in our oceans. It also includes an update for leaders on the issue of longline fisheries management, and this is a real priority for FFA members going forward. There are some real challenges there, and how do we secure greater economic returns from longline fisheries to Pacific Island countries. The letter also includes an update on the regional roadmap for Pacific fisheries, and I'm going to talk more specifically about that shortly. We've got a brief presentation, so there'll be some more detail there. And the letter to leaders also announced the appointment of the new Director General of the FFA, so that's Dr. Manu Tupourusen, who will come on board in November. And the ministers all passed on their thanks and acknowledgement to James Movick, the current and outgoing Director General, for his fantastic years of service to the FFA, both as a deputy and then 2 terms as the Director General. So I'll just quickly run through the outcomes of the regional roadmap for Pacific fisheries. So we do a report card every year on that, and this is just a short presentation on the report card for 2018. So the regional roadmap was adopted by forum leaders in 2015, and the report card that we do every year takes into account the work of a task force on increasing economic returns from fisheries, and that was also established by leaders, and the FFA, along with the Secretariat for the Pacific Community, the party to the Nauru Agreement Office, and the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat were all charged to work together under that task force to increase economic returns from fisheries to Pacific Island countries, with specific targets over a 5-year period. And this slide just talks about those key goals. So the first one is respect to sustainability and ensuring that the key tuna stocks are all being managed at sustainable levels. The second goal is with respect to value, and a target there of doubling the value of the catch to Pacific Island countries by the year 2024. The third goal is with respect to employment, so creating jobs for Pacific Islanders in the tuna fishery, be it crewing on fishing vessels or in the processing sector. And the fourth goal relates to food security, and specifically increasing the domestic supply by 40,000 tonnes per year to 2024 from tuna fisheries. So in relation to this year's report card, and I think you've been handed a copy of that, you'll see there's a graph in there, and it's the one that's up on the screen relating to sustainability. It's called a Margereau plot because it was developed around the time of a key meeting that took place in Margereau in Marshall Islands. But what it illustrates is the relative status of the four main tuna stocks against the key sort of biological reference points. And where we want to see those stocks positioned is in the green area at the lower right-hand corner, that quadrant of the map. That's where we want the stocks to be, and it signals that they're biologically healthy and that the current levels of fishing effort are also not going to push that stock into an overfished state. So you'll see that all four stocks are currently in that green quadrant, and that's particularly pleasing and a key, I guess, a unique feature for the Pacific, because it's not the same in other oceans around the world, and it's testimony, I think, to the work that FFA member countries have done over the years to ensure we're sustainably managing those fisheries, including in the context of the wider Western and Central Pacific Tuna Commission, the WCPFC. And that's where Forum Island countries sit down with foreign fishing nations to agree management measures for the stocks. And that's a key part of the work that FFA does, is supporting countries in that forum, and we have been successful. I would like to just point out the Albacore Fishery. So that's the green dot here at the bottom. Arguably, it's the healthiest of the four stocks from a biological point of view, but there are some real challenges in securing greater economic returns from the Albacore fishery, and it is the backbone of the longline fishery in FFA member countries' waters, particularly some of the more southern countries. But there are, it's clear that while the stock is biologically healthy, we need to manage it in a way that will secure higher catch rates for the vessels operating in that fishery. And that's a key priority for FFA member countries going forward, and it's also something that's been highlighted in the report to leaders. And indeed, right across the longline fisheries, not just albacore, but also big eye and yellowfin tuna, which are also important longline species, FFA members have been charged to work together on a regional strategy to improve economic returns from those fisheries, and that's a big piece of work for us going forward. I'd also point out big eye tuna. So that's the sort of purple dot up on the screen there. Big eye tuna has been the stock that we've had most concern about from a biological point of view in the past, and it's really pleasing to see that the stock is currently assessed as not being overfished, and that overfishing is not occurring. And that's a result of a number of things. New information being incorporated into the scientific model for big eye tuna, but also the fisheries management measures that we've put in place in the Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission, spearheaded by Forum Fisheries Agency member countries, as well as some environmental conditions that have led to favourable what's called recruitment into the big eye stock, so more young fish coming into the stock in recent years. And that's meant that big eye tuna, along with the other three major stocks, skipjack, yellowfin and albacore, is considered healthy. And that's a key outcome from this year's report card. Just turn quickly to the goal of increasing value. So the aim here is to increase the share of the catch taken by FFA member fleets by 25% over 5 years. That's the task force program objective. And you'll see on this graph that the share taken by FFA member countries has increased quite significantly in recent years. And the value of the share of the catch has also risen from 31% in 2013 to 45% in 2017. And this is mainly due to increased participation by FFA member countries in the purseine fishery. Now that's the fishery that largely takes place in the waters of the parties of the Nauru Agreement member countries, and what we're seeing is the management of that fishery is leading to increased domestication of the fishery and increased size of fleets flagged to Pacific Island member countries. So given these trends, the target for 2020, that's the green bar there, it remains achievable. We're on track to achieving it.